thinking of the psoas and the spine as my landmarks, my target areas, but what is really happening is we're providing pressure from the front. And I've actually had one gentleman say to me that the thing that fixes him is the armrest of his sofa. He'll throw himself over the armrest, get the armrest putting pressure in there, and just let his back kind of like stretch out as well. And he reckons that pressure is pretty good for selling any sort of tension there. Welcome to 2025. This is Elliot from MMT, here with Ninja. How you guys going? All right, first video of the year to kick off. I'm going to talk about treating the abdominal area. All right, so a bit of a nickname term for this area is gut smashing. Sounds a bit weird and rude and stuff like that, but it's to the point really. And so we're not trying to really smash the guts. We're trying to work on areas that have been jacked up, irritable, and creating a bit of blockage. Okay, so you might have heard of the psoas muscle, the deep hip flexor muscle there. It is attached to the spine there. That's what I'm going to be exploring first with Ninja over here. But then also going to be doing a bit of a general pressure through the front there. Okay, so when we treat some people with back pain, even though the back's on this side, some of the muscles deep in the abdominals here can contribute to that spine being locked up. And so Ninja, is this pressure okay with you there?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we put pressure like this, it is a bit pokey with my fingers there. I can feel his abdominal muscles, like his ab muscles there. I'm not trying to push through them, I'm trying to go almost around them. And if you imagine where the spine would be, it'd be just sort of right under my fingertips there. Okay, so it can feel a bit weird on some clients as well, just because, you know, how often you get pressure in that area. Now, even though I'm targeting your spine and the psoas muscle there, the guts are still there, the intestines are still there. So obviously if someone's got a lot of blockage and maybe a lot of food through there, it can cause a bit of a problem there. So we don't want to hurt the guts too much. And if we get that feedback from the client there, we can back off. And for some people, it's a bit of gas. Now, don't know about you, Ninja, but I've had gas causing me some back pain in the past, just from stuff I was eating, and I just thought this general pain around the lower back. And I thought it was the muscle. When I went to push in this area here, I felt all my pain centralized into this spot here. And then a few minutes later, let off a fart.
Yeah.
Probably the best fart I had for a while.
I reckon. So, and constipation as well, I suppose.
I think it was just more the gas.
Oh, but general, like people could have back pain. They're kind of backed up. It's
Backed up, yeah. So backed up is one thing. Holding in as well, when you're holding a fart, holding piss, holding in like stuff that needs to come out, we can be clenching some of those internal muscles.
Yeah.
And then another one I read recently that some people get is sucking in the gut. Now, we might suck in the gut to kind of change our shape there, but if you do that for a long period of time, then you create a lot of chronic tension through the front, right? So if the front is tight, it pulls our whole front into that position there, which challenges the back. Yeah. So this area being treated in manual therapy can be a bit controversial. You know, like, am I really treating the psoas? Am I treating the muscles? Am I treating the spine even? Maybe, maybe not. What I think I'm doing though is I'm providing pressure from the front, okay? Because pressure from the front I think is what's needed sometimes, especially if there's some sort of like tension or blockage in there. And how I know I'm being effective when a person has a problem is if they're moving better, if they're feeling less blocked. So you're actually feeling pretty good on this psoas here. And if you ever get a chance to practice on someone else there, take your time, don't be stabby with your fingers, like don't be jumping up and down like that. Really just sink in and move around like this. So we can be more specific if we want to. We can really dive into the psoas like this, or we can be a bit more general when we're working around through the abdominals like this. Okay, so really getting some stimulation from the front. Going okay there, Ninja?
Yep, I'm good, thanks.
So a little word of warning as well, so if you're trying this or you're a practitioner trying this, as you push into it, you may feel a bit of a pulse or a bit of like a thump like that. That's an artery, so not what we want to be squishing down on. If you feel that, just move off to the side. Okay, we want the pressure to be responding in the tissues, and we don't want to be crushing any sort of vital vessels. Okay, so that psoas muscle is quite long. It goes from like the top of your lumbar spine down into your hip there. That's why it's called the hip flexor. So you can be addressing it at different levels. very common levels around the belly button, but you can go down even around the, over the bladder here. And it's not just the psoas muscle we can be hitting, it's the lower abdominals there too. So even on myself as well, when I've tightened this area up, maybe I've been sitting on a low chair, or just like pulling in this muscle a bit too much, I can get this tension in this area here. And so I can sort of feel where I'm a bit wound up there. So just ease off a bit there and just work into it like that. When was the first time you ever treated the psoas?
This was 99.
Wow.
back then. So yeah, I think with the psoas, you got to keep on practicing it and trying to distinguish what you are feeling. Like, it does take time. Yeah, so the more you kind of got your fingers in there and you kind of get them to move a bit and get it done on yourself a bit, you kind of start to work it out. And yeah, just looking at, you know, the digestive system and things like that as well, so you can kind of know where the colon and the stomach and the small intestines are situated, then you can kind of get a bit of more idea of what you're pushing into as well.
That's it.
So yeah, it does take time.
It takes a bit of time, and so it can be uncomfortable for clients, especially if it's something they haven't been prepared for. You know, this is a very vulnerable area, very sensitive area, so you need to build the trust with the client there, sink into it, make sure that you're reading them off and reading off them and they're feeling comfortable. Sometimes, like, using our fingertips can be a bit too pokey, right? The skin can detect that and sort of go, I don't really like that, and the person has to put up a bit of energy to try to fight that, which is not always pleasant. So you can go blunter, you can even go with like your fists like that and just sinking in like this. So you won't be as direct, but it won't be as sensitive to the client, and you can still get that deep pressure, because I'm just thinking of the psoas and the spine as my landmarks, my target areas, but what is really happening is we're providing pressure from the front. And I've actually had one gentleman say to me that the thing that fixes him is the armrest of his sofa. He'll throw himself over the armrest, get the armrest putting pressure in there, and just let his back kind of like stretch out as well. And he reckons that pressure is pretty good for selling any sort of tension there. So other ways we can get a lot of contraction here is everyone's common enemy, sitting for long periods of time. Yeah, when we sit for long periods of time there, the pelvis is under the weight of the torso, so is the spine, and then all these tissues here are just being compressed as well. Okay, so if we're there for long periods of time there, that pressure is just building up. Putting pressure through the front there is just to help relieve that pressure. So like a valve letting off that pressure there. Okay, so when I'm treating someone, you can go broad with that pressure, or you can be more direct. Felt a bit of gas there, move.
Yeah. Oh.
So we can just encourage that if we need to. Okay, so yeah, be mindful as well. Like maybe a client, if you're working with a client there, they might have a full bladder. Make sure they go to the toilet beforehand. You don't want to be pushing on a full bladder there. It's very uncomfortable, obviously. And also positioning as well. So you can see here with Ninja there, we've got a bolster underneath his thighs there. That's just probably as far down as I want him to be. If he's a bit kind of contracted and worked up, I might start a bit higher up like this. Because when we're in this position here, it helps to relax this midsection here. And maybe some of you at home as well, when you're sleeping, you might have some trouble sleeping on your back. Some people say when they lie in their bed there, they can't lay on their back because their back starts to ache. And generally it's because the tissues here are so tight, when the legs stretch out like this, it pulls on them and starts to arch the back up, right? So it becomes uncomfortable, right? So when these muscles and these tissues are nice and long through there, the back should be able to settle down nicely into that area there without feeling like it's any effort, okay? So that's just a general way we can approach it with some pressure there. Rightio, so I want to go through a bit of anatomy. Back to school again with anatomy with Elliot and Ninj. So if you look at the spine here, everyone knows that the spine curves in a bit of an S shape, yeah? So this one's a little bit more of a C, but that'll work. So we know that the upper back has more of that curve going this way, and the lower back, if we just exaggerate it a bit more, has a curve going this way. Okay, so that's the general S shape of the spine. When you do a foam roll, it's quite nice to help put pressure from the back here on the thoracic spine. So some people might have a bit more of that kind of curved back like this. If you get onto a foam roller, you want to get onto that curve there to help mobilize it this way, get some freedom of movement this way. Okay, and that makes sense. But if you're going down to the lower spine here, that part of the spine already naturally curves that way. So if you get the foam roller onto there, you're actually going to exacerbate that curve. Okay, and the joints here don't like it, because when we go there, they start to come towards each other and start to pinch down on each other. And the nerve roots here can also be pinched too. Okay, so some people will have already a natural arch in their backs. They'll walk around with a sway back and be like that. And so if we're putting a foam roll into that back there, we're just making that even more arched, aren't we? Pregnant women is another one there too, because of the babies over here, so their posture starts to become more like this, that anterior tilt and that lower back there. So I don't recommend for a foam roller to go past like the mid back. When you go, if you go further into the back there, you can make it worse. So what can we do? We can get pressure from the front. Okay, so let's get pressure into the front there. So Ninja, I'll get you to come give this a go. Now you can do this at home or on your own, or even in the gym with a ball, either a sport ball like a basketball or soccer ball, or a medicine ball. The aim is to get that anterior pressure here and get this opening of the lower back there. And some of you already feel like when your back is achy, whenever you go to bend forward, that feels nice. This is for you. So let's give that a go there, Ninja. You've probably done this a couple times yourself. So if you have a look here, yeah, so where we want the pressure of the ball there is to be between the ribs and the pelvis there. Just watch out for those ribs there. You want to make sure they're underneath the ribs and not on top of the ribs there. Okay, and this is a nice blunt force there, so you can feel that pressure from the front there. You can tell on yourself where the pressure needs to go. So you can see Ninja there, he's sort of swaying around and just feeling for where that pressure needs to push into it. How you go on the Ninja?
Yeah, good. I can feel a pulse.
Yeah. Don't go too hard on that pulse here, that's the artery.
Yeah.
Yeah, so move around there. You can go as low as the bladder as well. So just above your pubic bone, that's a spot that can get easily missed. And you can see in this position here how Ninja's back is slightly flexed this way. That means that we're getting some nice pressure from the front there. And the space here, the spaces between the joints are opening up there. So a good one to get onto. Now, this is not recently invented. You can look online and see other videos as well. It's called the gut smash. That's an easy way to look it up. When you do this kind of release there, go to your comfort zone, yeah? Go to maybe 70 or 80% of your maximum tolerance. You should still be able to breathe calmly. You should still be able to speak as well. You don't want to be like tensing up. We're not trying to aggravate ourselves here. Feeling good there, Ninja?
Yeah, good, man.
Any good spots you're finding?
No, I think it's good to feel the spine kind of stretching that way, and a bit of release on it.
Yeah, that opening through there.
Yeah.
You know, so this is something that pregnant women wish they could do, but they can't because obviously that's there. So after pregnancy there, when they recover from that, they may still have that sway back, and this is a good way to start addressing that tightness. The other thing this has been quite good for, you can relax there if you like, is that there's some theories out there saying that the pressure from the front there can help with addressing or stimulating the vagus nerve. That's to do with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Just to summarize that, it's about trying to calm the body. So if you've got a lot of cortisol release, a bit kind of wound up, you know, either through work or through stresses in your life there, we can get that emotional tension where our body sort of holds contraction there. And we can contract in our spine or in our deep psoas and hip flexors. So getting that pressure there can help relax those muscles, stimulate that nerve ending and help with calming that body, getting to a bit of rest and digest. So yeah, very easy to do. This shape is pretty good. You don't want anything like too small like this. It's not really going to get in there. You want this nice blunt force. So you really come into the front there and just really emphasize that back motion there. What do you reckon, Inch?
Good. Just thinking one little thing.
Yep.
So I kind of like doing this as well, like that human resting position for that lower back. Mm-hmm. Just sort of load up your groins, but yeah, just keep on working. If you can only get to here or wherever or there, just keep on working on until you can get to that point there, or you can kind of get that lower back fascia to just really stretch out, and you can just hold this position for minutes. We used to be able to stay in this position here for hours, but it just give you that same kind of relief. Yeah, I really enjoy doing it, and you get your groins all kind of worked as well, which is good for mobility.
Yeah, so this is a very good point there, Ninja. like if we're upright, our body is just compressed on itself, isn't it? Like all these muscles when we're stacked day to day, it's just putting pressure here. So this is a nice opportunity to get that spine moving closer towards this horizontal position, opening up the spaces and opening up the tissues as well. Because when we're upright, this is all shortening. Right? So over time, that's going to carry up a lot of tension. When it's all contracted like that, it's going to make it difficult to move. But also, stuff can build up. Yeah. So when we're shortening, when we say stuff can build up, it's things like waste products from muscles. A bit of circulation can be a bit more reduced in some certain areas, which we tend to find along close to the lower back money spot, but also along the pelvic crest here. Right. So in MMT here, when we work on opening up these tissues, we're tracing along where these areas collect up, where they collect up that stuff that can be blocking that movement. And we'll get you in that position, trace along through there to release that. Helps you flow. This is what we want to encourage, some nice open movement there. That's what the body loves to do.
And guess what else I could do from here?
Oh yeah?
Want to help with you? Once you hold on to your shit,
oh yeah,
or your farts.
Good point, good point.
Yep.
This is the natural way. This is how humans...
Yeah, when you're sitting like this, you're choking it. Yeah. You know, there's actually physiologically choking your colon.
That's right. Yeah. Your stuff has to turn a corner to come out.
Yeah.
It's going to create a lot of strain, hemorrhoids and all that. That's it. That's it. It's just causing unnecessary damage.
Yeah.
How we used to, I guess, do it is just in this kind of squat position like this, because everything's lined up nicely.
Yeah.
You know,
it's meant to come out that way.
And so some people in other countries still do that, actually.
Gravity.
But if you don't have the strength to go down there and you want to kind of get that opportunity there, some people have been putting stools underneath their feet.
Yeah.
I mean, like block stools. So that way they'll be on the toilet, that's it, with their legs up a little bit like this.
Yeah.
And that helps to line up that colon there.
You just do that on the toilet. Just go here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It helps with the flow of the pipes.
That's it. That's it.
What you want.
So, recognizing where things can block up. If things are blocked and then we're putting force behind it, what's going to happen? It's just going to choke it even more. Yeah, that's where tension builds up, gets really uncomfortable. And then what do? We start, we've got pain, we start putting more stuff in like pain meds and, we're just blocking more things up. So sometimes it's about just finding out what's blocked and trying to get that cleared.
Yeah, that's it.
And so give it a go, get a ball, smash your guts, go easy at first. Really ease into it, wind that system down.
Yep.
Give it a go, hey?
Yeah. Done.
Get it done.